at Calvert-Lewin and Yerry Mina, both very great players on the day, but both very injury-prone players. And my question is, if you could pick one of these players to become not injured and have the availability of James Tarkowski, who would you pick?
My first?
Go on,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I don't think there's many players like him on the market, and I think for how Dyche plays as a manager and how, what gets Everton fans up, crosses, direct play, crosses, big number 9s, I think he's a perfect Everton striker. And I think he's quality. I think he's absolutely quality. And I think people have forgotten that because we just haven't seen him a lot recently. I think Yerry Mina's great. I think if Yerry Mina was fit all the time, I think he'd be playing for Barcelona, United.
No, we'll forget that
Yeah.
excuse of like they wouldn't be playing for it.
Well, it'd be great to have.
5-year contract at Everton, complete fitness. He's got robot knees.
If I had to choose one, Dominic Calvert-Lewin for the reasons what I just said.
Okay, Ped.
Good question.
I'm gonna say Dom because I think I really like Yerry Mina, and I have always liked them. And if you had a fit Yerry Mina and you had a fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin in your squad's suddenly just completely different. You're creating a spine then. You're one centre midfielder away from having a really good spine, and that's what always helps a team. You can always the wide plays I always feel in the team come last once you've got your spine. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, is exactly what an Everton team would need. You can put the ball in the back of the net. Doesn't always, don't get me wrong, doesn't always translate like that. We had Lukaku, and he was putting the ball in the back of the net. And obviously the major frustration when we had Lukaku was that we were so poor at the back, even though we had good players, because of the way Martinez wanted to play. It was ridiculous how wide open we were. We were running before we were walking because of having John Stones and wanted to play out from the back, and other things in the team didn't fit together quite the way it was, so it left us open. So having a goal scorer who scores 20 plus goals isn't always a certainty, but I'd rather have a goal scorer who scores goals, and I'll always give you an opportunity in games than not, because I think listen, it doesn't always guarantee. Leicester have scored a lot of goals this season and have been relegated. But I just think if Dominic Calvert-Lewin could score goals for us, could stay fit, could get 15 to 20 goals, Everton suddenly would be moving upwards. And I think also, if he was committed to the club, which is obviously another thing, then other players are attracted to that. I don't think players are attracted to the idea of, they're good
These
at the
are
back.
solid.
I think they're attracted to, God, look at their centre forward. I could provide him with chances, or we'd score goals if I was there, or whatever. So it would definitely be Dom for me.
Do you confidently think he'd get 15 to 20 goals, Dom?
Yeah, easily. I do think he's a very, very good player. I do. I generally think the way he holds himself and the way he carries himself, but I think he understands the game. I think we saw that as recently as Brighton, where he tormented their centre-backs. Centre-forwards are just more intelligent footballers than centre-backs. And that's just the way it is. And you do get a hybrid of someone like, say, your Virgil van Dijk, who's a very intelligent centre-back and could probably play in a lot of positions. But centre-forward, they have to have that little bit of cunning nous. And also, it's a lot of it's quite clearly instinctive as well. And I don't think he's don't get me wrong, I don't think he's like a Lukaku type level. I don't think he's a kind of someone who instinctively knows what to do in every situation, but I do think he's a very, very good player. So that your question, so who would you have?
Well, let me throw something at you. In the games Mina's played under Dyche, which is 4 games, which not a massive wide range, but in those games we've only conceded more than 1 goal once, and that was against Man City. We've been a much better team with Yerry Mina in the side. I think in terms of games we've won with Dom in the side, I don't think it's that many. Obviously, I'm not saying he doesn't make a difference like you. I think he's a great player. I don't know if in this side he'd get more than 15 goals. I think hitting that would be a very good achievement for him, just with the levels of service we provide and levels of chance creation. And going forward, for us, it probably is a bigger issue than at the back. But I just look at Yerry Mina and I think there's a comfortable top 6 standard centre-back in Yerry Mina. I think he's great. I think, like Ned said, obviously if he was fit, he'd probably be a top club in this scenario. We're just thinking if he just played for Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's great, but like you say, centre forwards are a bigger commodity and they are more intelligent. But your centre forwards' performance is reliant on the players around them. We've seen Dom have many games for Everton where he's barely had a sniff of the ball, not really through his own fault, but through his role that he's been given and just through the lack of quality and chance creation around him. With Yerry Mina, you can always comfortably bet on him performing well and very well at that. He's a great centre back, and although maybe going forward is a bigger issue for us, I would personally rather have Yerry Mina because I think it'll be a long while before Everton have a centre back of that quality again.
I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the side, I think that only makes the whole team a lot better. You're right with the goal scoring thing. Obviously, he needs quality chances. And we've seen seasons where he's played, lots of games and he's been given those chances with the quality players like Hammers and Richarlison around him. But then you've seen with like quality centre backs can be in a good back four, but the team in front of them not necessarily very good, and they're facing constant pressure, shots, so they'll ultimately not be able to perform. And I think a striker like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there's not many of them around. This hold up play is so good. Some teams' version of defending is getting the ball into the opposition's half and just keeping hold of the ball. You've got a striker who can get you at the pitch quickly, so you can counter fast, you can keep hold of the ball in their half. There's not many strikers like him around, so if you wanted to find a lone striker, a number 9, to replace Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I don't think there's many like him in the game, if any. I don't think there's many strikers of that quality you could get, for a certain price. But if you wanted to go and find a centre back who can fit into your back four, and make up a decent back four, that's like a solid, get you where you want to be. I don't think that's going to be as much as a lone number 9, a striker. Think about it, your defence is made up of 4 players, your striker is one position, and it's like your striker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Your striker.
Your
Oh,
striker.
the telly's gone off.
Oh, Ned, what have you done with the telly?
I think it's
Ned
timed
broke the
out.
telly.
Is it timed out?
Okay, well, we'll talk
Well,
while he's
you can't
fixing
see it, so shut
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
You could have just like slightly
Yeah.
nodded to me, so just
So-
keep talking.
Not denying everything that you've just said about Dominic Calvert-Lewin's quality, but he has a goal every 1,175 minutes this season. Obviously, a big part of that is, he's out the team a lot, so he comes back in and gets his fitness, and, it takes him games to get back up to sharpness and that. But this thing about him being a guaranteed goal scorer, I just don't think he is. I think, when the system's set up right around him, which it is currently, to be fair, under Sean Dyche, I think you would get 10 plus goals. But you could easily see Dominic Calvert-Lewin going a full season of fitness and not getting a significant amount of goals just if things aren't set up right for him and if he's been given the role that he has been in the past.
Well, I think one thing about our team as well, we don't score a lot. There's not enough goals spread around the team, and I think us as a team perform better and score more goals with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You might have a striker, you might have a Lukaku who creates chances for himself and scores 20 goals, but then you might have the rest of the team have scored 0 goals. They finished 6th or something like that. As a team, didn't score a lot of mostly when I was scoring the goals. He comes out the team, and Weghorst, who's probably not good enough to play for United, he's a bit rubbish to be honest, but the work he does creates more space for the wingers. So Rashford scores more goals, Anthony scores more goals, Fernandes is getting more goals, he's getting more assists or whatever, or he's creating more chances. So as a team, they're playing better, but not necessarily a great striker who scored like 2 goals a season or something.
But teams play better.
Very good.
Recognised
But the teams play better because they've got a player who gives them shape, who allows the team to get up the pitch, he holds the ball, his back to play is okay, probably could be better.
I also think that Dominic Calvert-Lewin with a good run of games would score goals. I think the fact that he's in and out the team doesn't help. But I also think he helps score goals. Helps the team score goals as well.
I think number 9s like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, once they get a couple of goals, they won't stop scoring. But when they have a little period where they don't score, it's hard to.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's someone like Lukaku. I don't think he's got that in him. But I do think that certainly under Dyche, I really do think he suits where we are.
Lukaku for us was like not one of a kind, but he was definition of world class.
What I'd say to that, point Ped's just made is that you're absolutely right. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the perfect Sean Dyche striker, but Yerry Mina would perform well under any manager. You know, maybe that's thinking a bit more long term. And
Oh yeah.
I think you're absolutely correct in saying, you know, good run of game, solid fitness, Calvert-Lewin goal scoring would be better. Because right now, going off his current stats, he made about 17 appearances in the league. So that's around half the Premier League season. You're thinking if you doubled that, he has 2 goals now. If you double that, he'll have 4. It'd be more than that. But Yerry Mina does have the same amount of goals in 7 games.
Try the slide one. It's great.
I was just saying that one.
Everyone's been distracted from my amazing.
Why do you hate Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think it's a tough question, and to be honest,
it is.
I'm taking the devil's advocate side. You
can't take the devil's advocate off Ned.
That's a Ned point, yeah.
I think they're both underrated.
You could take either of them, and it'd be a right
choice.
But
as a football fan now, I'm drawn towards the centre forward because I want goals.
If you want to watch the rest of this video, then make sure you join Toffee TV Premier, when you can get access to all our exclusive shows, including live daily videos. Click the QR code on the screen here.